Civilization 6 is an insanely complicated game that will immediately test your wits. With 50 different civilizations, 78 leaders, and over 100 military units. In addition to the vast technology and civic skill trees, along with different forms of government. That's why you won't see anyone else on YouTube that has earned this platinum trophy, but I set out to do just that. Earning that platinum will be no easy task though, as I will have to gain close to a masterful understanding of the game's combat, science, culture, religion, and city building aspects, to have even a chance at succeeding. Some key challenges I would need to overcome on my journey to earn the platinum included things like winning one of each of the 4 victory types, completing specific tasks as 6 different civilizations, having primitive military units survive till the modern age, and beating the game on the hardest difficulty, DT, which was a difficulty so tough, even professional Civ 6 players who have played the game for a decade struggle with. By the end of my time on the game, I would become a fearsome ruler, well versed in all aspects the game has to offer. But I didn't start that way. The first trophy I got was earned immediately upon entering my first game. I earned it by playing a multiplayer game, which was a nice little freebie to get me started, and I would need it, since that would be the only trophy I would get during my first session on the game. During my second session in the same match, I was able to knock out multiple trophies. This was largely because these trophies required almost no brain power to be earned. But don't be fooled, I still had no idea what I was doing. These trophies consisted of escort service, which unfortunately is not really related to what you're thinking of and just requires you to combine 2 units into a formation. Another trophy was for having 6 improvements built on tiles across your empire for gathering resources all at once. One more was for becoming suzerain of a city-state, which are smaller AI-controlled groups that you could ally with after sending them 6 envoys, which you slowly gained over time. An additional trophy was for changing your form of government. And one last one for giving a unit a custom name. By this point, it was apparent I didn't know what I was doing, and I would need to study up in a big way if I wanted the platinum trophy. After watching some beginner tutorials, I felt a little more confident managing my cities, which allowed me to earn 2 more trophies. The first was Voyage of the Mayflower, earned by sailing across the ocean blue in 1492, and setting up a new settlement on a different continent. The other was Everything is Awesome, which is earned for having a static city, which can be achieved for the combination of building amenities, wonders, or having luxury resources, among other things. The next part of my Civ 6 journey required I learned about the game's various combat mechanics. And after employing some of them, I was able to earn a trophy by having an enemy city under siege. Finally, by using this new knowledge of managing my own cities and combat, I was able to win my first game with a culture victory. This popped me trophies for achieving a culture victory, winning on settler difficulty, and winning on prince difficulty. Now we were getting into the part of the platinum that required me to do some planning, as it still needed a domination, science, religion, and another culture victory, as I did not win my culture victory against a civilization using my same leader. But some of these victories would pair well with miscellaneous trophies along the way, which I would try to take full advantage of, because these games are long, so I wanted to play as few as possible. An obvious pair to start with was winning a game on the highest difficulty with a domination victory. I decided to pair these because the AI on the highest difficulty is very formidable, and they would crush you if you chose to attempt a different path to victory, as they were all more drawn out. My only chance would be to hope I could locate the AI Civ's capital quickly and overwhelm them with my primitive units fighting for their buffed troops that do more and take less damage before their research buffs kicked in and I had cavemen fight against the full strength of the US military. This would be a hard feat to accomplish even for the best Civ 6 players, but by adjusting the settings to make the game much shorter, you could get lucky enough to beat the buffed AI for the win if you located them quickly, planned your production well, and placed your units just right. And after a couple attempts, that's exactly what I was able to do, earning me the 2 trophies. After such an involved task, I needed a break, so I set out to earn an easy trophy where I had to lose a unit to the Australian outback. So after I loaded up the Australia map and marched my unit across the desert, until they eventually succumbed to the elements, getting me the trophy. In my next game, I decided to focus on getting the science victory, which could be achieved through a combination of maxing out the science tech tree and having high industrial development for quick production to ultimately launch a rocket into space for the win. But I would also need to make sure my military, culture, and religion didn't fall too far behind, or my space race could be over before it even started. On my way to the victory, I got 2 trophies that paired well with the focus on science, and a random trophy too. The first of the science-related trophies was for getting 5 tech boosts in one turn, which paired nicely since I was already trying to race through the tech tree. With my new tech, I befriended the city-state of Nan Madol. I then levied their army for a trophy. Using their levied army, I set out to get a complicated trophy that paired well with science, which asked me to make sure Egypt was an opposing civilization. Then I took over an Egyptian city, and later in the game activated some great people, who were notable generals, artists, and scientists, which could be unlocked by using the respective points you accumulated, but were only unlockable during the era they lived. This trophy asked me to get Newton and Darwin, which set up the trophy to pop if I could win the game. Upon launching my rocket and winning the game, with the science victory, I got 2 trophies, one for the science win, and one for a science win, with a captured Egyptian city and Newton and Darwin activated. Now I had to get another culture victory, because when I won with culture earlier, I wasn't aware I needed a culture victory with another civ using my same leader for a trophy. To not make this a totally wasted game, I used this as an opportunity to clean up some random trophies. The first was for building 12 districts plus the Colosseum in a single city. This was actually pretty tough to plan out because only certain districts can be placed on certain tiles, and some districts can't be placed adjacent to each other. Also, I had to advance the civ until they unlocked air travel for one of the districts, which is pretty far into the game. On my way to that repeat victory, while building up my districts, I cleaned up 2 more simple trophies, by declaring a formal war and becoming suzerain of the city-state Hatsua. Eventually, I would get my repeat culture victory done for the selfie trophy, but I decided to keep playing for a bit after the victory, as I had a spy, which was an advanced late-game unit, out on a mission to steal a great work of art from another civ. And after skipping a couple turns, he was successful in bringing it back, and I could move on to my next trophy pairing. Next, I would focus on getting my religious victory. I had to make sure I could get suzerain of Zanzibar, and found their religion to get both the religious victory trophies. I also needed to pair this with playing as Spain, so I could get another religious-related trophy. On my way to getting suzerain of Zanzibar and spreading my religion, I got some other trophies. One paired well with the religion, and one was more random. The first was for building a colossal head monument adjacent to a holy site, which made sense to do while going for this victory, and was quick to get done as I'd be building lots of holy sites. In previous games, I've been scouring the map for rare silver deposits. There was a trophy for owning 6 at once, and after finding some really nice deposits and building on them in this game, I got the trophy. I then got my Spain-related trophy for launching an Inquisition as Spain, which was a religious action, so it paired well and wasn't too difficult on this run. Finally, I'd spread my religion across the globe, earning me the trophy for a religious victory, and the victory while being the Suz of Zanzibar, and using their religion. By this point, I had all the trophies related to getting different victory types done, and you would think I would be in the home stretch, but I still had 10 trophies left to earn, with 5 of them being related to using certain civilizations, and 5 being kind of random. But 2 of these trophies were extremely grindy. I decided to go for the ones that involved using different civilizations first. A new game mode called Hot Seat made these 10 trophies a little easier for me to obtain, as I could pick the civilizations I wanted in the game and control each one of them. So I loaded it up with all the civilizations I had connected trophies to, and started the game. The first trophy I had come through was China's related trophy, which required me to build 5 great walls and put 5 special Crouching Tiger units on the wall pieces. Next, I switched over to my Egyptian civilization, and after finding 2 rare floodplain tiles adjacent to each other, and building the Sphinx on one and the pyramids on the other, I got a trophy. I then took one of my civilizations that I put in the game as a burner civ, and had them donate multiple of their cities to another civ of mine, which earned me 5 civic boosts in 1 turn. At this point, Greece had developed politically, and they'd finally unlocked 12 policy slots to earn me another trophy. I also used Greece to activate the great person Darwin and activate him on the Galapagos Islands for the Origin of Species trophy.
There are 3 things extremely
Next,
hard.
I switched over to my United States civ to earn the Pizza Party trophy. To earn this, I had to activate Leonardo in New York City with a sewer and art from Michelangelo and Donatello. This was a pretty funnily named trophy, but it was really tricky because it required us to get 3 different great people, which required us to earn their respective points and activate them during the right era. I also had to get New York City to spawn, which it's random which city it spawns for each civ, and I had to get a sewer, which was a very late game district, and the arts from each of the great people. I'd failed at getting this in both my previous culture runs, but in this game, after some careful planning, I was finally able to get it done. I switched over to Greece one last time to get another trophy, which required me to combine a ton of land units to make an army, and a bunch of naval units to make 2 armadas. And upon doing that, I earned 1 if by land, 2 if by sea. I then switched over to the final civilization we would be using in this game, Rome, and I had 3 trophies I was focused on getting here. The first was called Flight Simulator, which required me to airlift a level 3 slinger. This was tricky, because slingers level up, like all units, by earning experience in combat throughout the game, and they're the 2nd earliest unit you unlock, so they very quickly get power crept. But I was able to level 1 up earlier in the game and keep it protected until the modern ages to airlift it now. The next 2 trophies were equally complicated, but paired well together. The first was Left Balloons, which required me to drop a nuke from a bomber launched from a base on the Nina continent with 9 observation balloons present. This was very tricky as the Nina continent had a very low spawn rate. While I was setting up this hot seat game, I had to look to see if the continent was present in the beginning before continuing, and I had to restart my game probably 10 times before I finally saw it. But after advancing Rome through the ages and getting 9 balloons on the continent, unlocking a bomber, and unlocking nukes, I finally was able to drop the nuke on the continent to get the Left Balloon trophy. Then I got the trophy that paired well with it, Missed That Day in History class, which required you to clear nuclear contamination with a Roman legion. This was tricky as the Roman legion was locked around 0 AD, and you don't unlock the nuke until modern ages. So once again, I had to hide them deep within one of my cities and keep them alive until the end of the game. But after I was able to accomplish that and clear up the nuclear contamination, I earned that trophy, and finally, no more turns, the Platinum Trophy. I hope you enjoyed watching what I believe is the first Civilization 6 Platinum video on YouTube. And I'm pretty sure the next video I upload is going to be the first Platinum Trophy video on that game also. It's similar to this one, so subscribe if you'd like to see that. Also drop a like on the video if you enjoyed, and stay tuned for the upcoming content. I'll continue uploading weekly, sometimes twice a week, as I have been this year so far, and I have a 1 through 10 difficulty challenge along with a bunch of other videos coming out soon. Thanks for watching.